Visual Studio.net. This is a integrated development environment, IDE, basically, which is called as IDEs. And you can download any version like 2010, 2013, 2019. So many editions are there. For your theoretical concepts, 2010 is also sufficient. And otherwise, if you want to download the latest one, search on the internet Microsoft Visual Studio Community Edition. So download the Community Edition, and which is a free version. So you can do everything. So there is no hindrance to hindrance for certain practicals like this cannot be done. So it is not like that. You can do anything, but for the big projects and other things, the community editions will not be that much helpful. So if you are targeting to create a very big project or otherwise want to create in a different platform for the mobile application development or something which you are targeting in a specific way, then you have to depend on the Visual Studio Standard Edition or some professional edition. So they can be downloaded, and you can try it on those IDEs. Otherwise, community editions are also sufficient for your practical performances. If you do not want to install the IDE on your laptop or machine, also one thing can be done is online compilers are also there. Like this, just search on online CSharp online compilers. Some very good compilers will be there. See here, this is tutorialpoint.com, some which is offering some different programming languages compilers. So in which CSharp is also there. It offers Python and other languages also. You can take any of this and see the code is also, the template is also given, and you can make the changes and simply execute, and whatever you have typed in the program, it will be printed. So in that way also, for if you are not interested to download and install the complete edition of the IDE, then you can take help of these online compilers also. But online compilers are sometimes not recommended because if you want to create classes and some big libraries you want to integrate, it will be giving some tough time to have all those things. Whereas in the IDEs, everything can be neatly put under a common solution, and in that solution, whatever you have taken will be ultimately getting compiled, and your code will be running very fast. Okay, so that's why the recommended way of doing the practicals is just download the community edition. Simply Microsoft .NET it's Visual Studio download. Okay. So it will directly take to the latest one, and you can search for the previous versions also. If your laptop is not supporting the latest one, you can go for the previous versions and simply download. You can download the Visual Studio 2019. It's basically some 400-500 MB of data size it is having, and that's all. It do not have any licenses attached. You can do anything as far as the projects are concerned. Okay, so it is, you can see, powerful IDE, free for students. Okay, completely free for students, open source contributors and individuals, and professional IDE, best suited to small teams. If you are working on a single project where some team members are required, then normally professional is the best approach. And fully scalable applications, if you want to try, then enterprise. In the companies, you generally find this enterprise version because it is having all the features. Okay, so that's why it is up to you which one to download. So after installing that, Visual Studio IDE, you can start, and it will be seen like this. Okay, so now we want to create a C# application, and it's language actually. Okay, it's not a technology, it's a simple language. So language is there to create any kind of application. That means any kind of application means using the same language you can create Windows setups. Okay, so that means Windows apps, Then mobile apps also you can create. Then Windows services you can create, web services you can create, REST API also you can create, and WCF applications are also created. Many platforms are there where you want to create a specific kind of application or depending on some architecture. Okay, so normally what happens is all these kind of applications can be easily generated by using the Visual Studio. So that's why it is called as integrated. So whether you want to do any kind of application development, it is having uh, so this is what this IDE is called. Okay, so IDE means this is common to every kind of development that you are ultimately targeting. And the best advantage is you take any language, and all these languages are actually supported to create these kind of applications. It can be VB or it can be C Sharp. Okay, so it doesn't matter which language you are opting, but in combination of the IDE plus a single language, you can go for all these kind of application generations. So that is what the common this IDE is actually doing. Okay, so one more is there, console applications. Okay, console applications also we can do, and embedded applications also we can generate. As I told, there are so many applications or so many kind of different architectures that we can create our own binaries. Okay, so these different kinds of applications can be simply created if you know any of these languages. Only difference is some namespaces are getting changed. In this, some different namespaces which are different from this, which are different from this. So in that way, the namespaces and some techniques that you want to adapt are going to be changed across all these different platforms. So let us start with by seeing a simple example. We will target this console application because for knowing the embedded application and for knowing the Windows setups, so our syllabus is completely uh, websites also that is on one of the applications. So our syllabus is completely based on this web application development. Okay, so web app development is completely your NCT. After installing this IDE, select file new project. Okay, you will be shown up with some good number of project templates. What they are, suppose you can see there are different languages that are already installed. You can see Visual C Sharp is one language, then Visual Basic is the second language. Whatever the language that you have selected, inside that there are so many templates that are available and which are targeted some kind of application development. Okay, as we are not interested in Visual Basic because our syllabus is only concerned with the Visual C Sharp, so that's why don't select this Visual Basic, because when you create, you can see the extension is uh, here it is not showing the extension, but generally the extension is .vb. Okay, so whenever you are going to create any file, that extension is automatically .vb, and we are not interested in VB, so that's why I'm selecting C Sharp. And when you select the C Sharp, the extension will be .cs, and complete the language, the page, the code file is being maintained in the .cs files. So .cs means C Sharp. So that is for the extension. So in that Visual C Sharp, you can see so many frameworks are there right from 2.0, because 2.0 supports these different applications, and then next version supports WCF application, then next version supports some additional libraries and other one. So it is getting enhanced with each of the successive version of the .NET framework. Okay, so for our basic practicals, you can take either this 2.0, or you can take this, or you can take the latest one. It doesn't matter. Okay. Yes, sir. आप केयरफुली समझ लीजिए, क्योंकि बिकॉज यू मे बी नॉट हैविंग द लेटेस्ट लैपटॉप, आपको लग रहा होगा तो 2019 मेरे मशीन में इंस्टॉल नहीं हो रहा. इट्स फाइन, देन यू कैन सेलेक्ट only 3.0. In that also C Sharp, ASP.NET, every practical whichever you are having in the syllabus can be easily run. Okay, but when you are creating the projects with the latest techniques, then in those times you may want some additional framework requirements with the latest versions. ओके, सो आपके प्रॉब्लम्स, आपके प्रैक्टिकल्स के लिए तो कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है ये. आपके प्रैक्टिकल्स के लिए इन जनरल आपके जो सिलेबस में जितना भी बताया है आराम से सब हो जाएगा. बट यू आर ट्राइंग टू क्रिएट अ वेरी गुड प्रोजेक्ट, then in those cases try to create with the latest framework, because it is supported with the link queue. You can see Azure Cloud Services is also supported. WCF applications are also supported. So every framework is having attached with some additional libraries and additional features. Okay, and as you select this, these are the basic templates, and on the inside of this Visual C Sharp also, suppose I am clicking on this Windows Classic Desktop, so only desktop application creating templates are being shown here. If I select web, you can see the ASP.NET and .NET Framework web application. One is core and one is web application. These two are slightly different. On the right side, you can see the definition of what they are. The core is actually used for the Windows and Linux, Mac OS using .NET Core. So the namespaces are actually targeted to create the applications on those platforms, and as well as ASP.NET Web application is targeted for the MVC, Web API applications, and web forms. So something slightly differed, getting differed for each of the project template. So all these project templates you can check and you can see the definition, what they exactly do. And then if you select the .NET Core, so there is a console, class library, unit testing project that you can create, ASP.NET Core application that you can create, then .NET Standard, it is a standard library that we can create, AWS Lambda. So AWS is for Amazon Web Services. If you want to create a Lambda project for that, or serverless application if you want to create. So many templates are actually provided, and unit testing is there, then you can select this template. WCF application if you want to create. This is for the communication foundation, Windows Communication Foundation. So it is generally used for the creating web services. So those projects can be easily created by selecting the appropriate template. Okay, so accordingly you have to select the project template, so that what kind of project that you want to create, so it can be easily created with this IDE. But for the time being, what we are interested in is to go for the console application. So that's why click on this Windows Classic Desktop Application Project Template. Then in that, this is the project type, and give this any name. Suppose my first console app. You can give any name. My first console app. Okay, so you can give any name. That doesn't matter. Then what you have to do? You have to you can put this project folder anywhere that you would like to have. आपको जहाँ पे रखना है इसको project folder को आप सेव कर सकते हैं. Then click on OK. The project is being created. It will take just half a minute. Okay, so this is the entire template that is created for you, and you can see some namespaces are also getting attached. Okay, using system, using collections, system.collections. Link queue is not required because we are not creating any database based application. So if you are removing this also, it's fine. But all these are by default supported using system.text, system.threading. So all these are by default supported, and you can leave them as it is, or if you are pinpointedly working on some known namespaces, then you can remove them. By removing the unwanted namespaces, what you are doing is your binaries will be very optimized. So inside this namespace, couple of classes you can take, but by default, only a main entry method is there, and this main entry method, you can see like which is pretty similar to the Java kind of implementation. Okay, so mostly almost 90% of the similar to the Java static void main. Only difference is the M is capital here, isn't it? So everything is same. So things are very much related with already known things when you compare with the other languages. Okay, so this is the class name. This can also be changed with your own uh, implementation. Okay, so class MCA something like that. So you can take with whatever the changes that you want to have for your code, you can do safely. And this is the template that is going to be created by the .NET framework when you create a first console application. So then what we want to have is we just want to print some text on the console. So for that, I will take the name of the classes. So for as we are doing the console application, there is a class called as console. Okay, you can see the IntelliSense. Whatever that is being popped up here, that is called as IntelliSense. ये जो आपको नीचे ओपन अप हो रहा है, जैसे आप टाइप करेंगे, see here, जैसे मैं फर्स्ट लेटर टाइप करता हूँ, the IntelliSense is automatically being loaded and it tries to know what you want to type. And as soon as I type the class and if I put the dot, all the properties, methods, functions, then additional information, all these being shown here. Okay, suppose what is the background color? If I am hovering the mouse, then it will be showing the property. This is a property which can be set with some background color. Then what is this clear? So clears the console buffer, and so all these definition of that particular method you can see and understand while writing the code. Okay, so now for the time being, what I want to do is I don't want to read, but I want to write something on the console. So you don't have to scroll down in that way as I am doing here. You just simply type write or write line. So write is in a single line. Write line is which makes the line by line text printing done on the console. So I will select the right line, and which is a method. If I mouse over, you can see whenever you are having doubts on what this particular method is doing, simply mouse over on that, and it will show the entire definition of 18 overloads are there, rise the current line terminator to the standard output stream. So this method is actually doing that. So what are the 18 overload methods? Simply open up with the brace. You can see this one is the first one, which is taking the boolean. Second one char. Third one is char array. Fourth one decimal, double, float, integer. So all the data types are supported. Okay, you can see here format is you can specify the format also. Okay, you can take the index and count also. Many overloaded methods are also being shown here. So whenever you are writing the code, all the hints are getting generated for you so that you understand and accordingly code. Okay, so this is the last overloaded method. So a single write line method is supporting n number of overloading mechanisms, and according to your requirements, you are going to put your code as per the overloaded methods that are suggested. Okay. Suppose I want to write here, hello, all MC second students in the string format, and simply I am going to terminate. Okay, simply I am going to terminate with it because this is a C# language. It is pretty similar like the C++ and Java, so that's why the things are very common like you found in those languages. Okay, so as of now, we just try to run this statement. How to run? You can see a start button here. Okay, so if there are any errors, suppose what I will do is I will simply remove this. I am removing that semicolon here, and already before compilation itself, still I have not compiled it, but still it has identified something is expected. Okay, mouse over on that curvy red line, it is already saying that you have missed out this semicolon, because before the compilation also it will try to hint so many things on your errors. Okay, still I overlooked that and clicked on the start button. Then what happens? Build started, and you can see here at the bottom, build is failed, and an error message is actually being shown here. Okay, so it actually gives the hint on the bottom. You can see this one is expected, and if you are having some 10,000 lines of code, simply double click on that, and it will directly take you to that line. Okay, simply double click on this. Okay, sir. If anywhere you can have in your code, your cursor is pointed there. Simply double click on that, and it will directly take where that probable error was there. Okay, so then you are going to make the corrections. Now put the semicolon as expected. Okay, now that red line is also gone, and then you are going to save that and simply start again, and this time let us see what happens. It's gone. The console is briefly shown for a second, and it has executed something, but we didn't see that, and it has gone. Why it has behaved like that is because we had not put any mechanism to stop the console, because कंसोल का काम हो गया है, ये मेन मेथड में एंट्री लिया उसने, ये स्टेटमेंट को प्रिंट कर दिया, इसके बाद कुछ करने के लिए नहीं है, सो एप्लीकेशन टर्मिनेट हो गया. ओके, सो दैट इज द नेचर ऑफ द कंसोल एप्लीकेशन. So that's why you have to put a command so that the console is in a wait mode. So for that we will take either of these ones. कोई भी चलेगा, ऐसा कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. Either of these lines. So read line means it is expecting something from you. The keyboard is expecting something from you. That's why the further line of processing is just interrupted. Okay, so now let us start again, and you can see now the same line is being printed here. Okay, the same line is being printed here, and it is waiting. You can see the second line, it is now the console is actually waiting on the second line. As soon as I type something, okay, suppose if I put enter, now if I put enter, it's gone. Okay. So that's why whatever you are trying to make in the format of statements, they are getting executed line by line whenever this main entry method is loaded in the memory of this console application. So this is a very simple example which everybody can understand, and this is a .NET class. Okay, system.console is the root class for creating the console application. So this automatically supports many methods, and all those you can access by putting the dot here. These are the methods, properties, functions, all these are supported, and accordingly you can create the application. Now what we will do is we will simply enhance a bit by taking a separate method which we are calling which we actually trying to take some input from the user, then we just make some logic into that and accordingly print the things on the console. So all these things we are going to do in this next one. Then you can have the practice session based on the C# language. Okay, so I'm just giving the hints of how to create any application and how to run the C# console application in your IDEs. Okay, So once I give the hints, then it is up to you to do the further practice, because every language construct we cannot simply teach, and by teaching the programming, nobody can learn. One has to try it out on their own, then only the things will be getting clear. Okay, so what I will do is I will simply remove this. Let us go for the second practical, second example, in which I am going to, I will simply collapse this. So inside this class, I will take one method like get student information. Okay, so this is a method, and this method is going to be having some functionalities. The functionalities, like we want to fetch the name of the, we want to grab the name of the first name, last name of the student, and accordingly we are trying to make up the thing so that to print on the console. Okay, so for that what I will do is I will type like console dot, as I want to convey something to the user, I will say like अरे मैडम को हुआ नहीं क्या अच्छी नहीं तिवारी एक बार और फिर से ट्राई करना तिवारी ये है so enter the student first name. Okay, so this is the thing that we want to display to the user so that he can enter the first name. Otherwise, if you directly want to grab the information, how he is going to notice which kind of information he has to write. Okay, so that's why we just want to convey something like please enter the first name, and then uh, then take the variable like this. The first name is a variable, and which is going to grab the information from the student. Okay, the same thing we are going to be it is getting hanging. The same thing we are going to put for the last name. Okay, so now this variable is last name, and again it is going to be saved in the last name while you are entering something. Okay, then one more we will take here birthday. Okay, so here I will take birthday, and like this we can have our own implementation. So for the timing I have taken first name variable, last name variable, and one is birthday variable. Okay, so now this code is done. Now what we want to have is we want to send this information to a different method. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another method. So this is the second method. Okay, so after this method I will write one more method, void print student details. Okay, in which we are going to say the first, last, then view. So this way we can have our own method. Okay, so first name is for the first, second last name is for the last, and date of birth is for the DOB. So in that way the parameters are going to be received. The data is going to be received in these parameters, and then we will have our own logic so that what should be done after grabbing that information. So now what I will do is right line, okay, and suppose this is the first variable, second variable, and third variable. So as I have told, it is not recommended to use the syntax that you generally familiar with. So double quotes plus, then double quotes plus, it is not recommended. Okay, even in the advanced languages like Java and other languages also, it is not recommended. So for that, if too many strings you want to combine, then string builder is the option. Otherwise, for a couple of strings, you can take the placeholders. So what is a placeholder? This is the zeroth variable. That means this is the zeroth index variable first. Okay. Then second, then the index last. So zeroth index, first index, and second index. Okay. So inside the double brackets only. Then after this string format, you have to provide the placeholders what you want to send through these placeholders. I want to send first at the 0th, last at the first index, and DOB at the last. Okay, so this is the simple printing of the information which is given by the user. So the user is going to give some data, and that data is going to be manipulated in this fashion. It's a very simple implementation, but you can do any kind of logic that you want to put as per your requirements. And we are simply concatenating the information which is grabbed through the console.read line. So that's all. Okay. So now this main method is not having any triggering point. So this, because whenever any binary is called, first method is getting executed. Which one is that? That is the main method. Okay. So what should be the first method to connect with is this get user information. Okay. Now I think we are pretty much completed with the implementation, and there are no more errors, and simply run this project. What happens? Let us check. I think we have missed one thing. It will get executed, but again same thing will happen. It will not be in the waiting mode. So that's why the last line should be this one. Okay. Otherwise, it will get executed and you will not see anything on the screen. Now let us run this. Enter the student's first name. Student's first name is some Ravi. Next one is enter student's last name. Okay. Student's last name is and student's birthday, maybe March 31st. Okay, we have not actually called this method inside this method because we have connected main method to this, but this method is not connected with this. So that's why what you have to do, you have to call this method and simply pass on the information which you are grabbing from first name, last name, then birthday. Okay, so this we have missed. Now everything is fine. Let us rerun this. Okay, and enter this information. So then maybe some December 22. Okay, so as soon as I enter this last variable information, you can see the statement is getting printed. Somesh Yadav was born on December 22. So that final method, the printing method, is actually combining the data. So combining the data of the Somesh, then Yadav, then December 22. So it is getting printed in this way. Then it is waiting for the next input. So as soon as I type any character and enter, the execution will get terminated. Okay. So understood? Anybody is there who did not understand this practical right now? So anybody is there who did not understand? Basically, it is easier one.
Understood, sir.
Okay. So we have seen how to create a console application and how to grab the information from the user, and how to manipulate the things in your own way, and whatever the logic that you want to put in that particular method, you can have those implementations being run. Then finally the statements are getting printed. So in that way you can create the console applications. Okay, and you can create the classes. Here in this case I have taken the static methods because it is not compulsory, and you can create a class and you can instantiate that also. All those can be practiced by you because all these concepts are known to you. Mm, there is nothing newer as far as oops are considered or any particular language constructions are considered. Okay, so some good practice is required. For doing the practice, many online resources are there, and what you are going to do is you can look up the online resources. See here, W3 schools. So right from syntax, comments, variables, user input, match, booleans. So all these, the methods, classes, everything is being explained here along with the code. Okay, so you just try to practice by taking those examples. Okay, suppose if you want to try it out for this inheritance concept, go for this code and first copy paste this, then run, and then you understand the code a little bit. Then accordingly you try to change the code inside of this given statements, and in that way you are going to learn the things. So the practice has to be from your side. Okay, so the concepts are everything are pretty much known to you. What is a polymorphism, what is an interface, and what are exceptions, then access modifiers. Everything can be characterized by you because all these are self-explainable. Then you can have some good tests are also there, which you can find. Suppose if you want to try it out on for loop example, there are so many uh, test cases that are given. Suppose click on this. After clicking on this, the entire logic will be opened up for you, and understand them and try to simulate them in your IDEs. So thereby gradually you are coming to the grip of the C#. Okay, so knowing the language and knowing the classes, knowing the namespaces, all these are important, and how to run the code is basically that you have to perform on your own. We can only guide you on the basics. Okay, ये ऐसा करना पड़ता है, ये वैसा कर सकते हैं, but ultimate practice has to be done by you. Okay, so there are many, like as with this example w3resource.com. Suppose you want to do some programming on the searching and sorting, click on this and it will, yes, searching. And so when you click on this for these problem statements, there are many problem statements. Once you click on this, it will get it will show you the entire logic, and simply practice the code by understanding slowly, gradually, and you are going to learn the language in that way. Okay.